Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And as you guys probably heard from my video earlier today, Biden and Harris decided to use a little campaign boost from the executive branch and make some more gun controlling infringement executive actions. Yeah, a lot of these, which we're about to walk through, are not very innocuous. A lot of them are pretty egregious. Everything's going to be linked in the description box below per usual. And guys, I need to hear you in the comments. Please send this to everyone you know. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the video, and thank you, or subscribe to the channel rather, and thank you in advance for consideration to do that, because we've got some freedom to spread, and these people are standing in the way of that freedom. Let's just get to it. I'm going to walk you through everything that they put out today. And I had to get out my highlighter because there's a lot of stuff that you have to understand, the monster that they are building. Okay? Again, from the White House, whitehouse.gov. You guys know we did a video today, as I mentioned. It's all about this part right here. President Biden and Vice President Harris announced additional actions to reduce gun violence and save lives. These are executive actions. Now let me scroll down a little bit for you. New executive order directs federal agencies to combat emerging firearm threat and improve school-based active shooter drills. Now that is nowhere near all of this. But I want to walk you through what I gave you a huge red flag warning on when we did our video earlier today about the federal agencies issuing their own types of little executive actions. Listen to this, because the stuff that we're about to cover, we're going to go through all the important pieces that you need to know. Wow. All right. How about a little prologue? Today, President Biden and Vice President Harris are announcing a new executive order directing federal agencies to improve school-based active shooter drills and combat the emerging threats of machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms, as well as additional executive actions that advance the Biden-Harris administration's agenda to reduce gun violence and save lives. That last part. Now, before I get into the little details that I really want you to know, because you have to for your rights and for all of our rights, to be quite honest, you have to understand what's happening here. The gun control auspices through Everytown for Gun Safety, Giffords.org, March for Our Lives, all of them, they have been milking Biden for as many possible things as they can get in before the buzzer. And by the buzzer, I don't mean Biden's expiration date, I mean his presidency goes out the door. Okay? They are trying to build as much as they possibly can in so they can build further on in the future. They are trying to utilize all the existing power that they have, which he has been more than willing to do, to build something further. Check this out, because this is, you guys are literally seeing the infrastructure being built right in front of you. Now, one thing, I highlighted this little part right here, Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. None of these actions that we're about to talk about would be possible without the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, which passed in 2022. John Cornyn, the guy who wants to lead the Republicans in the Senate, and Tom Tillis overcame the filibuster on the Republican side and let this become the law. When this became the law, they were promised, oh, there has to be due process for red flag laws. There can't be any money going to states that don't have red flag laws in place. They lied to you. You got worked. You're too stupid to really be in power of anything. So when he goes for the Senate Majority Leader, John Cornyn, I'm gonna go ham sandwich on the fact that I will resist every single opportunity I can, because this is all his fault. But anyway, let's keep going. It's been a pain in my butt for 2 years. It's going to continue. Now, President Biden and Vice President Harris are taking additional action on two emerging firearm threats: machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms. They're can't say that one. That was a bad thing. I'd be in trouble. Basically, they're go-to. Let's just say that. So first on, the machine gun conversion devices. This you might find a little interesting, guys. Machine gun conversion devices enable semi-automatic firearms, including easily concealable handguns, to match or exceed the rate of fire of many military machine guns. That is incredibly important verbiage and language. The reason that they said that right there is so that these won't get struck down in court immediately. They said, enable semi-automatic firearms, including easily concealable handguns, to match or exceed the rate of fire. They focused on the rate of fire. My God, they're learning. They didn't say they are machine guns. They said they match the rate or exceed the rate of fire. They're still semi-automatics, but the problem is this next little statement, and that's really important that they use that language. Machine gun conversion devices are illegal to possess under federal law. So let's just make an executive action. What could go wrong? They'll listen then. But we continue to see these devices show up at crime scenes because they're small, cheap, and easy to install, almost like criminals don't give a rat's butt. Machine gun conversion devices are often illegally imported or illegally made on 3D printer from computer code found online. So the laws that are in place are being circumvented. And so your solution to this, instead of arresting criminals, your solution here is to just make an executive action. Okay. That's what we're dealing with here. All right. Now this next part, we're just going to go through these as the ones that are highlighted. I've linked if you want to read in detail. I've got two colors here for a very important reason. First, the yellow. In this executive order, President Biden is establishing an emerging firearms threat task force. Goody. Consisting of leaderships from key federal departments and agencies. President Biden is directing the task force to issue a report within 90 days that includes an assessment of the threat posed by machine gun conversion devices and serialized 3D printed firearms, an assessment of federal agencies' operational and legal capacities to detect, intercept, and seize machine gun conversion devices and unserialized 3D printed firearms, and an interagency plan for combating these emerging threats. This part right here, the red part, the report will include any additional authorities or funding the federal agencies need from Congress in order to complete this work. You know how this next step plays out? They put out this report that they're now making, and they put in these pieces of advice that say, you know, the HCF could really do this job a lot better if we had about $10 billion more than what we have now. That would allow us to hire 2 times the amount of agents, because you really got to crack down on the NFA violations that people are doing already, because, you know, the laws aren't doing it. That's how this works. Advice to Congress on how to fund these measures. Not actually putting anything in, just the little report that the gun controllers are going to sing from the rooftops about they need more money and more funding for all of these 3-letter agencies. FBI, NFA, NSA, ATF. You know, you pick your poison. That's what they're doing right now. They are laying the groundwork for future fights. One thing I will always tell you, these people will infringe upon any rights as they see fit, but they are not stupid. Just saying, you think they're stupid, you will lose. All right, let's keep going here. In addition to the executive order, federal departments and agencies are taking the following actions. This is the part where the federal departments and agencies get involved. Remember how I told you in the earlier video today? Watch out for this part. Here we go. Encouraging safe storage of firearms. That's Ethan's law. Today, the Department of Education is providing schools, school boards, and policymakers with a new tool to promote safe gun storage in their communities. They're going into the schools. Following up on its initial safe storage actions, the Department of Education is publishing an interactive website that highlights examples of state, community, and school district actions across the nation that promote safe gun storage within school communities. Every single school is going to have a litany of data provided by the federal government around safe storage of firearms. And what do you bet it's not going to be the Second Amendment is a great blessing and it preserves our freedom, so let's be responsible with our freedoms? What do you bet it might be if the gun doesn't exist and then, you know, you'd be okay, but if you have to have one which makes you 5 times more deadly, or 5 times more likely to be killed with your own gun, you need to safe storage it. Guys, they're laying the groundwork for the future of what Harris was talking about when she said mandatory safe storage laws will go into the sanctity of your home. All of this stuff is tied together, guys. Let's keep going. The website includes a map with state safe storage laws, examples of how schools are communicating with parents about safe storage, and examples of local policies on safe storage education. Maps, information, data, sharing, all the things. Oh, that jumped. Okay, here we go. Clarifying Medicaid reimbursement for counseling on firearm safety. Now this part is all about using Medicare funds to provide any type of money for counseling, but it's not counseling after something happens. Listen to this. Always follow the money. This announcement will build off the coverage that Medicaid provides for anticipatory guidance. That means getting in front of something. So now all the money is going to be coming from Medicaid to be allocated towards gun violence prevention in the schools. It's right there. Which is health education and counseling to help parents and caregivers understand and improve the health and development of their children. Guys, go to the next red one. This is insane. Guidelines include firearm safety guidance, such as safe storage guidance, as recommended anticipatory guidance for pediatricians to provide to parents. So they're going into the schools around safe storage. Now they're getting Medicaid funds to go into hospitals and medical in order to push safe storage. Are you guys seeing what's happening? Okay, how about the next one? Maybe I'm just crazy. Implementing state red flag laws. The Department of Justice is announcing over $135 million in formula awards to 48 states under the Burn State Crisis Intervention Program, which provides funding for the implementation of extreme risk protection orders. Those are red flag laws. State crisis intervention, court proceedings, and related programs and initiatives. The red part again, the implementation of state red flag laws is supported by the National Extreme Risk Protection Resource Center. Guys, I need you to watch this whole video. Okay? You understand that Biden is the one that created the National Extreme Risk Protection Resource Center 7 months ago. They create the center, and then about 7 months later, they create executive actions about funding the center, utilizing schools for safe storage propaganda and medical professionals for safe storage propaganda, which are getting paid by Medicare, which is public funds. Now, you've got state red flag laws that are getting supported by the exact office that he created. They're building the Frankenstein right in freaking front of you. You know, don't worry, the Republicans are just standing there doing nothing, like always. Let's continue. This got me really salty, I'm going to be honest. Like, I know that we're going to pass our freedoms on to the next generation, and I'm always going to fight for it, and we're going to do it together. But, oh, dear Lord, sometimes I just get a little Eeyore, and right now I'm a little Eeyore. I'm just really sick of being the punching bag for these people. Anyway, let's continue. You guys can let me know if you feel the same. Today, the Department of Justice is issuing model legislation that additional states may use to inform their own legislation and allow a carve-out to share juvenile records solely for the purpose of enhanced background checks. A carve-out. You know what the carve-out is? HIPAA regulations, privacy regulations, all your medical regulations. So, you know, we really want these enhanced background checks that's brought to us by the Republican-brought Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. So we're just going to go around all those privacy laws through a carve-out. Don't worry. The Justice Department's doing it. You're fine. Guys, they are turning the pot up slowly, and we are frogs sitting in a bubble bath. All right. Maximizing the enhanced background check with red flag laws. Look, there they are again. This thing is a wish list of gun controllers just to get it all on the board. In these and other circumstances, if a person shows clear signs of being in crisis and danger to themselves or others, they may qualify for consideration under applicable red flag laws, which would generally result in that person being ineligible to possess or receive firearms. Notice how they didn't say anything about that whole due process, that whole court of law, that whole court order, warrant for the safety of yourselves and others. They just said you can't. Notice how that's in there? Yeah. Good job, John Cornyn and Tom Tillis. You guys are a waste of space. Oh, look, more of their stuff, their work here. BSCA, that is the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. John Cornyn and Tom Tillis, yet again, Republicans, the worst of the worst. Enhanced background checks for gun purchases under age 21 and the law's narrowing of the boyfriend loophole. They love that one. Along with the expanding number of states with red flag laws, are placing new challenges on state and local agencies attempting to ascertain what records they need to send to the federal gun background check system. So more records being sent to a federal system. That sounds like something that rhymes with schmedatabase. Anyway, let's keep going. Gosh, I'm getting spicy. To address these challenges, there needs to be a system-wide improvement, a new era of collaboration among various entities engaging with the federal gun background check system. By December 15, that would be this year, the Department of Justice Office of Justice Programs will have evaluated the existing grant programs that support improvements to the gun background check system and make any changes needed to support states looking to improve their record systems, which may include lengthening the duration of grants where appropriate. Let's just get the money printer out, and they're just going to pay for everyone to infringe upon your rights. Let's keep going. We got even more. Remember that thing with New York Times and the gun controllers got all their panties in a twist? Yeah, about that whole thing about guns that were being trade-ins that were in gun buybacks were being sold to another manufacturer, sold down to break parts, and then selling the parts out. And the left lost their collective minds. Well, look at that. It's so weird how it got in here. Destroying crime guns. It's almost like the people writing this are the ones in gun control organizations. Firearms or firearm parts that were presumed to be destroyed by law enforcement have begun showing up in crimes. Sometimes the guns recovered by law enforcement are sent to a third party that only partially destroys them. By October 30, the Department of Justice will refresh and clarify best practices for federal law enforcement disposition of seized firearms, including when working in partnership with state and local law enforcement. The Department of Justice will also release a plan to offer new training and education for state and local partners on safe and appropriate firearms disposition. Literally, gun controllers wrote this whole damn thing. Come on, guys. Like, all of a sudden, the things that got their panties all in a twist about something they were yelling about the New York Times shows up in executive actions 4 or 5 months later. Come on, guys. We're born at night, but not last night. But, hey, that's what they announced today. I hope you enjoyed walking through. Hope your blood didn't shoot out of your eyes like it did for me. Hope I didn't get too spicy. Landed that plane, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.